Okay, boys and girls, today we're going to look at casting and creating down. You'll notice that under code, I have another bird that's created, but this time instead of bird 4 getting new bird, I have bird 4 getting new duck. And in Java, we can create objects down the hierarchy tree, and we could cast them back up. Alright? You cannot cast down. Now we'll talk about that a little bit. Now creating down, you could see that bird is the parent of duck. So this is allowed in Java, where you could create a duck object referencing bird. Now what this bird 4 could do is that it will, any method you call on bird 4, it would first reference the bird class to see if the method exists. If it does exist, it will not give you a compile error. However, at runtime, it will look for the method in duck, because it is really a duck object, even though it's referencing bird. So in our case, we have a method called eat. And in this class, eat is in bird, so therefore it does not give us a compile error. But at runtime, it will use this eat method because it overrides the eat method that's in bird. Okay, so the object duck will override the bird eat method, so therefore it'll use this method right here for duck eating. The line after it, is a casting example. You notice that I tried to cast it with a bird in front of it using the same method to see if it will change or try to use the parent's class eat. In this case, it will not. And for many other cases, it will not as well, because the duck object will override the eat method. So no matter what you do, since it is really a duck object, by polymorphism, it will automatically use the eat method that overrides the bird method of eat. Now, so basically this line is the same as the line above it. Both will actually give you the same answer, as you can see down here. Duck eating and duck eating. Let's look at this line that I commented out. Now I know I've mentioned that even though this is a duck object, it references the bird class. So whenever you call a method, it looks to its parent bird to see if it's in there. And if it is in there, it does not give you a compile error. Now bird 4, even though it's a duck object and it has the method swim in it, it will give you an error if I uncomment this. Why? Because swim method is not in bird. So this duck is very interesting. Comment that back out. This duck is unable to use methods that are not in bird. So, if you need an instance where you need a duck that acts like a bird, but you want to use the overridden methods that are in duck, but do not want to use the implemented methods or the other methods in duck, you just want to use the overridden methods that were that overrided the bird class, but don't want to use anything else from the duck, just the overridden methods, then this is the case when you would use a statement like this, because this duck will not use anything else besides the overridden methods or the inherited methods that it received from bird. Okay? So, in this case, it inherits and noise and eat, and it overrides noise and eat. So therefore you could use noise and eat from the duck class, from the duck, which is overridden from bird. And if bird had any extra methods in here, it would also be able to be used as well. So you would be able to use any overridden methods and any other extra methods that you may have inherited from bird. But you will not be able to use anything specific to bird only, to duck only. Like for instance, swim and fly are specific to duck only, and you will not be able to use it with this kind of statement. Alright, so that's how you would use a specific kind of duck. If we look below it, looking at for not casting down, you'll see that this bird 5 that I created, new bird, if I uncomment this line, it will not give you a compile error. And that's because in the hierarchy tree, duck is in the tree that is in that belongs to bird. So once the compiler recognizes that it's somewhere in the tree, it will not give you a compile error because it assumes you know what you're doing. However, at runtime, it'll be a different story. As we could run this here, you'll notice that it gives you an exception. Bird cannot be cast to duck. So very interesting. Could be a test question. Make a mental note. It will not give you a compile error because it's in the hierarchy tree. However, at runtime, it realizes that you cannot cast a bird to a duck. Because why? We can only cast up. We cannot cast down. We could create down, just like here, where this is the parent and this is the subclass. We could create down, but we can only cast up. In this case up here, we casted this duck object up to a bird, but of course it's a duck object, therefore it uses the overridden method. Let's comment that back out to make sure it runs okay, and be done. Very good. This was the lesson on creating down and casting up. See you in the next video.